704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hope everybody's doing well. Sorry for coming in on the intro a little late. I almost come in on everything a little late. Had to let it roll to get down here to Cornelius' studio this morning. Run a little late, so we got him on the line. Hey, we're going to go ahead. Like I said, we changed the format, folks out there, where we're doing our guests first and then the call-ins later. A lot to talk about. I don't know how many of y'all saw the Olympics opening. My goodness, what the world was that? But hey, I got a good friend of mine, former Missouri State legislator, House member out there. Now he works with Net Choice in the IT field. Justin Hill, got to hang out with him at a conference this week in Denver, and it's good to catch back up and had a lot to talk about. So if Justin's on the line, let's bring him in, Joe. Hey, Justin, you there, brother?
Yeah, good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Good to hear you always. Like I said, good seeing you over the weekend and getting to hang out a little bit and spend some time together. Hope you had safe travels home. I'm assuming you did. We're talking.
I got stuck in Atlanta on the way back. They're still Delta's still having a hard time recovering from that crowd strike issue.
Well, speaking of IT, you're in the middle of it. But tell us a little bit now. I don't know if our viewers remember talking or listening to you back a ways. It's been a little while since we had you on the show. Tell us a little bit about Justin Hill. Give us a little background on him so that everybody can kind of get an idea of what kind of real true expert you are.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Jeff. I served just like you in the state legislature, and during that time, I spent a lot of my focus on IT policy because, it is one of the fastest growing sectors in the United States, and it's a very important sector. Everybody relies on it, and it's becoming more and more that way every single day. I left office to go on the private side of things and to continue to build good IT policy. I joined Net Choice, which is the right of center trade association for all the big tech companies that all of your listeners are aware of. They hold a lot of the devices, Apple and Google and Amazon. And we just want to make, I really like the space because I want to make sure that we have healthy growth in the IT sector, but with good, conservative principles that you and I like to espouse.
And now, you're no longer in Missouri. You're now moved down to Florida, the land of the free, or at least the free income tax anyway. How's life in Florida? Any hurricanes?
It's the free state of Florida. It's beautiful. It gets a little hot and humid in the summer, but I understand North Carolina can get that way as well. But the family loves it. As much as I travel around the country, it's just really nice to fly back down by the beach.
Well, I don't doubt that. And I know you got a bunch of boys and they all play different sports. And so you can do that about 24/7, 365 days a year in Florida. So I'm sure they're tickled about that.
That's right.
Something always going on. Well, let's jump in. One of the things that, you want to talk about a little more about IT first and then jump into the data center debate that we kind of got into and discussion. Which would you rather do first? You tell me. You're my guest.
Let's talk about data centers.
Let's do it. All right.
It's kind of, it's important for everybody, really, to get a good understanding.
Well, and for all y'all out there in radio land that don't know what we're talking about as far as data centers, these are the places. These are your Googles, your Meta, your Apple, all these servers, all this information being stored and processed and moved. It takes a huge campus at sometimes, but buildings and massive amounts of computerware, hard and soft, to make these things happen and use an incredible amount of energy, really, for what they are.
Yeah, and don't forget, this radio show is in a data center right now as we speak.
Yeah, Everything. I mean, if it's being communicated in any form or fashion, it's probably running through somebody's data center, and it's
Yeah.
really critical. And so, one thing we got to talking about, it sounds funny, listeners, but energy policy and data centers go hand in hand.
That's right. That's right. Data center energy use accounts for about 3% of all the electricity in the United States right now. And it is expected to grow to about 6% of the total electricity demand as a result of, AI. AI is starting to, touch every sector. It's improving a lot, from agriculture to the medical field. And that growth is only possible if we continue U.S. dominance on data centers. There's about 8,000 data centers in the world, and 33% of those are located in the U.S., and that's a good thing. Having the data reliability here stateside, rather than relying on, say, China to house our data, is essential to not only business growth, but, cybersecurity, right? Privacy especially. We need to maintain dominance in housing data in the U.S. and maintain IT growth dominance, especially in the age of AI.
Well, and here's the thing: because they are a big user of electricity, they're going to pick their spots where there's a reliable grid, there's reliable energy. There's everything they need to make sure they can run, because they're 24/7, 365. There is no stop. What was, I think, way back to that movie, Wall Street, Information or Technology. What never stops. It keeps moving all the time, and that was back in the 80s when that movie come out. So now here we are in the 2020s, and yes, it's wide open. So that's important. And one thing that we're finding, and we're at this conference talking, is so many states have taken a path that they're not able to actually have a reliable power grid because of some of their ideology, and this new green energy is just not sustainable and not reliable enough.
Yeah, so there's two different types. There's that intermittent energy development. That's going to be your wind and solar, which is only available during peak times when the sun's shining and the wind's blowing. And then there's dispatchable energy, which is liquid natural gas, nuclear, coal burning generated electricity. Those are constant. And I don't know if your listeners are aware, but anytime you demand electricity on the grid, that electricity is generated at that moment. So it's not like we have a big bank of batteries sitting around just waiting to feed our demand. They have to stay up and running. And as many devices that are running now, as many, just the transportation industry, the airline industry, all of this demands a constant draw on electricity. So if you've never seen a data center, these mega data centers are about the size of an aircraft carrier, and they're using up to darn near a gigawatt of electricity. Some, you'll see some smaller ones, but this major, that's like a whole, that's a whole neighborhood of electricity. And some states, you're right, they're a little upset that a lot of these
Hey, Justin, hold that thought. We got to take a break, folks. We'll be right back. Hang on, Justin.
There's more Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The app with Lake Norman deals. The WSIC app is out now, wherever you get your apps.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville welcomes back Dave Scott Crow and his Amusination Academy performance on Thursday, August 1st. Dave's concert and Pick Me Up open mic are events for the kids and the entire family. The show begins at 4:30 p.m. on the green. Parents, grandparents, and kids of all ages are welcome on Thursday afternoon at Brookdale Village for Dave Scott Crow's Amusination Academy. Langtree Live in Mooresville continues their free concert series on Thursday, August 1st. Langtree Lake Norman is open for eats and drinks all afternoon, with Bad Romeo taking the stage at 7 p.m. From AC/DC to Whitesnake, Bad Romeo will bring back your 80s rock memories. Grab your lawn chairs, arrive early to get your favorite spot, and enjoy Langtree before, during, and after the show. We'll see you in Mooresville Thursday night for the Bad Romeo concert at Langtree Lake Norman. Friday night, Brookdale Village hosts Live Under the Oaks in Huntersville. String Theory presents a free concert from 6 to 8. Brookdale restaurants are open for dinner, while Red Rocks will serve beverages on site at the concert. Come on out Friday night for the String Theory concert at Brookdale Village. The Cookout Monster Truck Bash is at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Saturday, August 17th. Sparks will fly as the metal-bashing 2,000 horsepower machines return for a night of high-flying action on the planet's most diabolical outdoor course. Gates open at 4 p.m. Bring a Cookout Cup for free early access to the pit party beginning at 3:30. Pit party includes monster truck rides, inflatable slides, bounce houses, face painting, an autograph session, and souvenirs. Opening ceremonies will begin at 7. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com or the CMS app for information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Plus auto parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply. Your Auto Plus Auto Parts Store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
It's Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, back here for the first part of the middle of the show. See if we can get our guest to come back on. Hey, Justin, you still hanging out with me?
I'm here. Thank you.
All right, cool deal. Sorry about that. We got to pay bills, unfortunately, around here. They just won't let us air time for free. But anyway, getting back, talking about basically these data centers are the size of an aircraft carrier. And folks, I don't know if you've been to see an aircraft carrier. We're talking something huge here, and they are. They really are. So, elaborate a little bit more on 1 gig of power and the constant need, the draw.
Yeah, so they demand a lot of power because the data center, the size of an aircraft carrier, is full of racks. And on these racks are computer processors, and they are stacked. And they generate a lot of heat. There's water that's required to cool these computers because, again, every time we access information, it's drawing on these computer processors in just a very rapid way. When a data center is built in a state, actually, North Carolina has actually excellent data center laws. So it's a very attractive state to put these in. And that's great for North Carolina because it gives businesses in North Carolina low latency. So a lot of times when a data center comes into a community, it's not a great looking thing. It's just a giant warehouse. But what's underground to feed that data center is dark fiber. That dark fiber runs along the United States interstate system, and that is the fastest connectivity around the country, what makes us so dominant in IT. But once a data center goes in, they draw off that dark fiber to the data center, and then IT businesses or businesses that want to be close to that low latency data availability will locate along those data centers. So a lot of times when you see one come into a community, you see a lot of growth.
Well, and I've seen that, and we have a lot of data centers that people don't realize. There's one right over in Hickory, Maiden, not too far from us here, but they're kind of inconspicuous, but yet we all know they're there. A lot of times they'll actually have a little bit of solar outside, just trying to be green and look good, but they're sucking power like crazy. But the big thing, and I cannot remember. Maybe you can the name of the federal act that pretty much makes one state have to sell power across its state lines to other states if they need it. And I can't remember what was it? It wasn't I can't remember the name of it now. I'll have to do a little more research. Should have had that on my tongue, but you know what I'm talking about. Federal act.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it's essentially, North Carolina might have an agreement with its neighboring states saying, hey, if there's a power outage because of a storm or a hurricane or whatnot, we need to be able to buy power from our neighboring states so that no one goes without energy. It could be during the winter, it could be hot summer. We need to power those air conditioners. So it's kind of like a memo of understanding so that we can share the grid.
Yeah, and that's good that we all are able to interconnect like that. But then, as we talked the other day, you've got, like, I know Illinois has taken the stance on green energy. And now here you got Chicago, third biggest city maybe in the United States or somewhere in that neighborhood. But data centers are not really looking to really plant their roots down in Illinois for the fact of some of their energy policies they've taken on as a state have not made them very reliable, and they're having to pull a lot of energy from their neighboring states around them, Indiana and some of these others, Wisconsin and whatnot, to keep them going while they try to posture and be green.
Yeah, they want to brag about how clean they are. Meanwhile, in other good, well-run states, we're generating more energy because what's interesting is the more energy a state can create, the more GDP a state creates. It's literally tied neck to neck. It's shown in several studies that energy equals economic development, economic growth. And if you got a state like Illinois that doesn't want to produce, gas energy or coal-powered energy, yeah, they're going to have to draw on those other states. And what I say to those other states, make more energy and use more energy because it's only going to help your state.
And we talked about it. Of course, the federal government won't let you do it. You have to sell the power at basically the same rate you would sell to a user in your state. But really, there ought to be a premium. I hate to use the word tariff or whatever, but if another state chooses not to generate power because they have this super green initiative in their mind that they're doing, which means, 200 miles away from them, somebody's pumping it out so they can still have power. They didn't cut back on power. They just cut back on the way they make it. It really causes an economic development issue kind of for the state that has chose to have stable power because they can't expand in their borders for having to make sure they can supplement their neighbor who's not doing their job. And it's kind of crazy.
That's right. And the only way we can fix that is if we win in Congress.
In November.
I mean, because the federal government gets oversight on agreements between states. It's the Commerce Clause, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so it's kind of crazy. You got one state that chooses really not to invest in stable energy because they have their neighbor who is investing to drop back on. And folks, that's one of the reasons I got just on this show today. We talked a lot about this, how, somewhere or another, this has got to be fixed or it's going to stress out the whole system to a point. And we saw that down here in North Carolina with some rolling blackouts 2 Christmases ago. Trying to meet these emission standards, they're not making better, smarter plants. They don't have the technology yet. They're just shutting ones down and not running to cut the emissions. It's crazy.
And the answer, yeah, you're right. And the answer is generate more electricity. And in Trump's acceptance speech last week at the RNC, he did say we need to lead on energy, we need to drill, baby, drill, and we need to lead on AI development.
Well, and that's one of the big things that the Dems have actually ran two bills trying to basically curtail. I guess they watched Terminator 1, 2, and 3. There may have been a fourth. I don't know, but it's obviously scared them enough that they're wanting to curtail and you and I both talked. We don't want to be the one of the last nations to get in on AI and to make it work for us. We want to be the leader.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. IT was developed here in the United States for the entire world, but China's keeping up. I tell you what, they are building. I want to say currently they are building more coal-fired plants than all the total coal-fired plants in the U.S. currently, and they're doing it to support their AI development. They know they're going to need the energy, and AI is pretty unique. Whoever's first out of the box is going to lead forever.
Yeah.
Because it goes so fast. IT development goes so fast that you can never catch up once you lose the lead. And recently, the Biden administration, when all this came about early on this year, they put out several pages of regulations to slow down the development. So once we see an administration change, we're going to see good regulation, but we're gonna really be able to turn on that development so we can stay ahead of China.
Well, I mean, it's kind of scary. Our foreign policy tied to our energy policies, tied to our they're all intertwined, tied to our environmental policies. You name it. Every which way you go, it seems like this administration, and I predict the future Democratic administration, if Kamala Harris gets in, will have this same backwards thinking and craziness that we see now of how to go about these things. Curtail your energy. Well, you're going to curtail your GDP, your gross domestic product. We've seen it, just like you said. So how do you starve out a country? Well, you keep them dumb and you keep them in the dark, I guess, and cold.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
And those on the left, they want the government to run it, right? They want government oversight. And that's not what made the United States great. Individualism and innovation made the U.S. great. I don't know if your listeners know that AI is now being utilized in ag by putting computers on the machines, and when you go over a field, the computer recognizes a weed and can spray the weed without blanketing the entire crop. So the average person just across the country is going to save anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 annually just from little tweaks that AI can provide. Another thing you might like to hear about is, everyone goes to the skin doctor when you get older to check for, skin cancer, and a doctor's got to look you over. But now you can go into a little pod where a computer is scanning your body, and AI can predict. It can look at your skin and predict, hey, this is going to be problematic. It's just the efficiencies we're able to build using AI are just immeasurable.
Wow. Hey, Justin, I told you it's quick, and you've done radio too. We're down to our last minute. Where do we go? What do we keep doing the craziness, or do we try to change?
Let's keep moving forward. Let's generate more electricity. Let's lead on AI innovation. And let's get Donald Trump in office.
Hey, check. I got all your boxes there. And, we didn't even get into talking a little about, we'll have to talk about nuclear another day, but I mean, whatever comes up, natural gas, cleanest, nuclear, one of the cleanest fuel, they hate it. The left hates that. So what do they want? I don't know. Hey, we're down. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, calling in, talking about this. We had great discussion over the weekend. Look to have great discussion with you more in the future. Come down here and see us in North Carolina. We'd love to have you. Just come hang out with us.
Will do, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
Take care, brother. All right, folks, get ready. We're going to come back second half of the show. You want to call in, please do. Stay tuned.
Keep it right here. Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Some of it could be heavy, and we'll keep an eye out for some localized flash flooding once again. High temperatures in the low 80s. We'll drop back down into the low 70s overnight with mostly cloudy sky, and we'll run that chance for scattered showers and storms each afternoon this week. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi,
This is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Plus auto parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply. Your Auto Plus auto parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
Looking for a large private room for your next work function? Or maybe you need a place to bring the whole family for a delicious meal? Pomodoros of Mooresville has the perfect space for your crowd. Book your next event at Pomodoros.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple's artificial intelligence features will not be included with the initial rollout of upcoming iPhone and iPad software updates. Bloomberg Tech reports the company plans to start offering Apple Intelligence to customers as part of updates sometime by October, meaning it's possible the first iPhone 16 models for consumers will not include the new AI features and will need a software update a few weeks later. Theaters were packed over the weekend with Deadpool fans. Ryan Reynolds' character, pairing with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, earned the biggest film debut of the year, raking in more than $200 million in just the U.S. and Canada. Deadpool and Wolverine also scored the best opening for an R-rated film. This week, traders are focused on the monthly Federal Reserve meeting and the Labor Department's monthly jobs report due out Friday. On Wall Street, the Dow is close to flat. The S&P and NASDAQ are seeing gains of between 2 and 0.6%. I'm Scott Carr, Bloomberg Radio.
Now back to more Taking Care of Iredell with your host, NC Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here for the second half of the show. Hey, anybody want to call in, talk about what's going on with our power and how crazy we're getting, or anything, 844-788-3464. And that's 844-788-3464. I don't know about y'all folks. I didn't get to see it live. I did go back and try to watch it as far as the opening of the Olympics. What the heck? I don't know. It was at one time told it was supposed to be a mockery of the Last Supper. Now they're changing it. No, it was a goddess or god, whatever. And with men in drag, I don't know what you call them, gods or goddesses. I ain't sure how that works. But anyway, why would you have an opening ceremony to the Olympics that you've got to sit there and try to explain to your 6-year-old grandchild? Why can't you just be real simple? It's not that hard, folks. It's the Olympics. But leave it to France to do whatever and basically shove it in the face. And I truly believe at the end of the day, either which way with the drag queens and whatnot, it was still an insult to Christianity. It was an insult to me, and I'm a Christian. I'll put it that way. All right, going to move on from that. Anybody like to call, like I said, give us a holler. Last week, I had an opportunity be on our House Government Operations Committee. Love that committee. Pretty crazy sometimes. We actually had the North Carolina State Board of Elections in. Kristen Brinson Bell come. She's executive director. Actually, she zoomed in. Also had the chairman there of it. Understand how the makeup of the board is. Whoever wins, whatever governor wins in his party, there's 5 members of the State Board of Elections. They're all appointed. And 3 of them will be Democrats since Roy Cooper was elected, and 2 of them will be Republican. Karen Brinson Bell's appointed by Roy Cooper. She's going to have her own political flavor, which is Democrat, from up in the mountains, I think Hendersonville maybe area, something like that, Henderson County. But anyway, had them in front of us, and a lot of monkey business going on. And the reason is you've got other parties besides Republican and Democrat that are on the ballot. And I know y'all seen Libertarian in the past and the Green Party, which now they've pretty much booted them to the curb. But you also got the Constitutional Party that filed this time, and they're a conservative-leaning group that's going to put up their own candidate, probably for president, but also for governor and some other offices. And then you had the We the People and Justice for All parties. And the Justice for All party, I'm pretty sure, is candidate's Robert Kennedy Jr. But the State Board of Elections, they had their signatures, wouldn't certify them. Finally came to a vote. They finally decided to go ahead and serve, let one of the liberal-leaning parties in, but make sure that the other one, who I think Cornel West is going to be, Justice for All Party, denied them, said their signatures didn't look right, said this, really scrutinized them. Now, we asked him, I said, well, was the same scrutiny put forth on the Constitutional Party, the conservatives? Oh, their stuff looked good. It was fine. We pushed it right through. So doing everything they can. If you remember, a lot of stuff was blocked. Nobody could actually be on the presidential ballot in North Carolina, but Joe Biden. Democratic Party made sure of that. He had no competition inter-party. And so now we're making sure that they weed out anybody else that could take any votes away from a Democratic candidate. So, not holding the same scrutiny, not using the same guidelines, just kind of doing what they feel. Brought them in also, talking with Karen Brinson Bell, and an election integrity group has found over 200,000 registered voters that they do not have either a driver's license number and or a social security number for these 200,000. So really not exactly been identified. And I had got on her the last time she was there about a year ago, Karen Brinson Bell, about this one group saying we had over 600,000 people that shouldn't be eligible to vote on our rolls in North Carolina. Now she tells me she's cleaned out 700,000 of them. Still trying to go through the math and still trying to go through the numbers and the information. They sent us just enough, just a little bit to make it confusing. But, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dig deeper. We'll probably have them back. But do think it's kind of funny. You always hear the other side talk about a threat to democracy. Well, stopping people from being able to vote for their candidate if they have all the rights and regulations done. That sounds like a threat to democracy if I ever heard it. And I think we see that a lot with our North Carolina State Board of Elections. And I don't know, I think Joe may have somebody on the line, but he's talking with him right now. So I'm going to keep on moving on that. So it's just kind of crazy what goes on in this. Do we have a caller, Joe? I'll take Jesse. I'll take the sick and tired patriot. Jesse, what are you doing, boy?
I just joined your show there, Jeff. Sometimes I get so busy in here and I just can't get through sometimes. These wire EDMs, noise and stuff, don't hear your shows.
Making money. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to, man. It's trying to make it happen. This way this stuff's going these days, it's hard to do, man.
That's right.
So I wanted to ask you, has anybody took into consideration about being around the HMF, that's all this, I guess you call it new energy or whatever, 5G puts off, these heavy metals and stuff. I mean, I've just endured a lot of and so does a lot of people around me. There's a lot of sickness and stuff.
Well,
with these metal particles getting inside of it, and then you get around this HMF, we know what aluminum foil does in the microwave. Imagine what that's doing to your blood cells. I've had tremendous amounts of blood cells die in me, become anemic. The people around me is going through the same stuff. And it ain't just me. It don't take a scientist to put those two things together to say that can't be good. If you got a lot of iron in your blood, you get around these 5G and towers and stuff like that. How bad does that fry somebody?
That's a good question. And there was whenever we went from 4G to 5G, and evidently that was a huge jump. It's just one number, but according to everybody I've talked to, that was a huge step going from 4 to 5. And, at one time, they wasn't sure we could even get our planes off the ground. It was going to cause problems with our guidance systems.
What's the limit? what's the limit to where
I don't know.
we're going to say enough is enough of that, man? Because it's
there is
I don't know
talk.
about how much we can say on this live show here, but it's not looking good.
Well, there's talk that they're already experimenting up with a 10G. They have gone to 8, and then there's a 10G, and I don't know if it's true, Jesse. I read a lot of stuff. I know you read a lot of stuff too. We all do, and you try to discern what's right and wrong. But there's talk that 10G has enough. I don't know if you want to use the word force or what, but it can actually. They believe it could push weather systems in different directions. In other words, if a hurricane was coming, they could push it out to sea and stop it from hitting the mainland.
I've noticed a lot of trees, especially the ash tree, supposedly took on a blight in the past 3 years, and they're hustling around trying to harvest all your the trees, whatever I just said. And it's like they're dying all around my house here. The ash, the hardwood ash tree stuff. But I think we're at a point where we need to be looking at, and I have worked on a lot of this, have been for about 10 years now, and that's an independent power source, that is clean. It's steam. It works off of steam, and everybody has got their own cooling system, their own. I think we're to the point where we need to be considering. We've cut the cord to the phone. We cut the cord to TV in a lot of cases. Cables and this, and it don't take much to heat water up above like what's already in your hot water heater to run a steam engine to generate power.
Well, the crazy thing is, like I said, somebody has told somebody that they think that electricity is the cleanest power. They've never have really looked to see how we make it.
Right. Exactly. See, to me, it's an element just like earth, water, wind, and fire. It's just you got to be able to capture it, just like earth, water, wind, and fire. You just got to have the right tools to collect it.
I truly believe, we got about a minute and a half. I truly believe that what's coming is going to be these little small community reactors. I truly believe that's going to be the future. And it's clean.
I think if we went with steam, though, you'd be able to distill your water. You'd have clean water, and any excess you'd be able to put back in the atmosphere safely.
That's
you wouldn't have there would be. If anything, you'd be helping the atmosphere by producing more moisture into the air to help clean the air. And it's just it's real simple how it's done too. And you basically are generating the power that you're using to boil the water with excess power left over.
Yeah.
To live off of.
Well, it's one energy creates another. That's the good thing about it. It's almost like a loop. It's almost like a loop.
But see, what they're doing now is they're dumping all this stuff in the sky to make it rain to fill up the PD River Basin. A company out of Maryland, by the way, is doing it. They don't take in consideration what they got to put in the atmosphere to make it rain to fill up the lake to collect. And then this is when they call it clean energy.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's there for somebody to look up and go read. This is their theory of clean energy.
Hey, Jess,
all this stuff.
Hold that thought, Jess. We got to take a break here, so just stay with me. We'll come back after the break. Okay. All right, folks, hold tight.
Stay with us. We'll have more Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, here comes a new week, and here come the chances for rain making their way back to the Lake Norman area, too. We'll see a mostly cloudy sky. Carry the rain gear with you for your Monday. On and off rain throughout the day. Some of it could be heavy, and we'll keep an eye out for some localized flash flooding once again. High temperatures in the low 80s. We'll drop back down into the low 70s overnight with a mostly cloudy sky. And will run that chance for scattered showers and storms each afternoon this week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Birkdale Village in Huntersville welcomes back Dave Scott Crow and his Amusination Academy performance on Thursday, August 1st. Dave's concert and Pick Me Up open mic are events for the kids and the entire family. The show begins at 4:30 p.m. on the green. Parents, grandparents, and kids of all ages are welcome on Thursday afternoon at Birkdale Village for Dave Scott Crow's Amusination Academy. Langtree Live in Mooresville continues their free concert series on Thursday, August 1st. Langtree Lake Norman is open for eats and drinks all afternoon, with Bad Romeo taking the stage at 7 p.m. From AC/DC to Whitesnake, Bad Romeo will bring back your 80s rock memories. Grab your lawn chairs, arrive early to get your favorite spot, and enjoy Langtree before, during, and after the show. We'll see you in Mooresville Thursday night for the Bad Romeo concert at Langtree Lake Norman. Friday night, Birkdale Village hosts Live Under the Oaks in Huntersville. String Theory presents a free concert from 6 to 8. Birkdale restaurants are open for dinner, while Red Rocks will serve beverages on site at the concert. Come on out Friday night for the String Theory concert at Birkdale Village. The Cookout Monster Truck Bash is at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Saturday, August 17th. Sparks will fly as the metal-bashing 2,000 horsepower machines return for a night of high-flying action on the planet's most diabolical outdoor course. Gates open at 4 p.m. Bring a Cookout Cup for free early access to the pit party beginning at 3:30. Pit party includes monster truck rides, inflatable slides, bounce houses, face painting, an autograph session, and souvenirs. Opening ceremonies will begin at 7. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com or the CMS app for information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with NC Representative Jeff McNeely at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Taking Care of Iredell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here with the second part of the show. I think I still got the sick and tired Patriot hanging out here with me. You still there, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm with you here, Jeff. I'm still with you, buddy.
Let me lay something on you here if you want to hear some craziness.
Throw it at me, please.
All right.
I love listening to you. I learn more that way.
Well, it's time to start buying votes. That's what this basically is.
I hear you.
The EPA is going to award grants to over 30 states. Most of them are blue, for a total of about $4.3 billion. And this is your money, Jesse. Going $500 million going to California for decarbonization. Now, what the heck does that mean? I have no idea.
Really.
I have no idea.
Is that what our plants live off of?
Yeah.
Is that what our plants live off of? I mean, literally, Jeff, they pump carbon in the atmosphere, the so-called make it rain, just so they can have, seems to me, a reason to decarb. It's like these people, they think, and I've watched many of them in college talking about how Mother Nature is a dirty, I'm just say dog, female dog.
Mm-hmm.
They call Mother Nature a dirty female dog, and you can about imagine the word they said there. But and that's their way of thinking. They take what they call and create natural disasters, and because it's natural disasters, they make things look. How should I say this?
They make everything look desperate. I mean, it's like we don't do something this minute, we're dead.
They love natural disasters.
Fear.
But who discerns when it's natural or not when they control things?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
when they make things happen, how can it be a natural situation then?
Remember, these are remember the word swing states when you hear me talk. They're going to spend $400 million in Pennsylvania to reduce emissions from construction material plants, like the dust from concrete plants and any of the steam or smoke that comes from making brick or making any of the other products that may take heat. So they're going to spend all this money, $400 million, to reduce the emissions from them in Pennsylvania.
They need to start with the sulfur content that's in jet fuel. They want to really start somewhere. They need to start at the sulfur content that they put in jet fuel. And you know what burnt sulfur becomes once it's been burnt? It goes into water. That is sulfuric acid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sulfuric acid.
And once sulfur has been burned, it becomes sulfuric acid. And that's in the jet fuel, the JB7, I believe it is. It's got like 7 million parts per billion. Our cars run at 5 to 50 parts per million. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To where jet fuels they run upwards of 7,000 parts per billion. Million. I'm sorry, I keep saying billion, but it's per million.
But it's,
and there's just not. It's not peer reviewed or nothing. It's not oversighted. They say that the various kerosene, the diesel fuels is a commercial fuel, and it don't have to be regulated.
Well, same thing with the trains. Same thing with trains.
And that stuff is. You just about imagine where all that carbon's coming from, and then you hear on the radio how cheap flying is right now. You know, versus driving your car. Is that why they're doing that? To make it so people fly more, so they can pump more carbon in the air.
I
mean,
know.
they're great. They love creating these disasters.
Here's another one. They're gonna do $250 million. Spend it on I-95 from Maryland to Connecticut on electric charging stations. Now this ain't spending none on 95 South, all 95 North. They done gave up on the South voting for them, I guess. And now here's one of the best ones. I felt like they're going to go into the New England states, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, all them, spend $450 million switching people over to electric heat pumps and electric water heaters from their gas or coal fire or whatever they're using now. So they're going to switch them up. Can you imagine how much electricity it's going to use to put a heat pump heating somebody in Maine and Massachusetts and the New England states when it gets cold up there? They make great heat pump's the best air conditioner I ever had. Heater, not so much.
Now imagine if you had your independent steam that's boiling your water again, running your generator, heating your home too. You see?
So when I was a kid, we had an oil furnace that heated the water and ran it through the copper pipes and had those baseboard heat. And I tell you what, that's warm heat. That was warm heat.
That's the best. That is the best, cleanest energy that we've ever had, and that seems to don't work for them.
Well, they just don't like none of that. They don't like any of that.
But you look at Fukushima, all the stuff that they went through, having these so-called clear nuclear energy. Japan, after having that so-called natural disaster, squirreling all that money, all that contaminated water from that tidal wave, earthquake, whatever happened there. And they had to end up dumping that in the ocean. When they started doing it, they just around 2019, they started having to dump that water into the ocean out there.
Yeah.
Which currented all the way up through the last sea, all the way down right off the front of our coast. And people getting sick. But there's a lot of things going on out there, Jeff, that people need to study. They need to study this stuff.
Hey, Jesse, I got another caller, so let me take them. But you keep talking on it. You keep talking on it, brother. Yep. Take care.
All right, buddy.
See you. All right, sound like we got another. Who we got here? This is Representative Jeff McNeely.
Hey, this is Hope calling, and, I have to say I have definitely tossed around what this guy's talking about. But, the government can be measured. The government wouldn't even be trying to do some stuff for its community if there wasn't consumption going on. And the problem is that we cannot we can't measure the consumer, because then they start thinking, oh, privacy this, privacy that. I think there's just as much assault coming from the average user of said energies. And they think it doesn't hurt people. While I'm sitting here telling you I am someone who is affected by it. I happen to be sensitive to it, but I think everybody is. I just can be a bit of a canary in a coal mine, and if you're sitting on an office chair, you're just shooting it right in your body from that metal plate on the bottom of it. There's things that we can do instead of saying the government needs to fix this. Just look at yourself and see what you can do for yourself to mitigate.
Well, and I get you. There's reactions to the actions that are put upon you by maybe your government or something else. We figure out ways to protect ourselves and react to whatever's been put in front of us in our environment, close to us, or where we live, what we do. But some of this hope seems crazy. What we're doing, does it make sense to you?
Well, what makes sense to me is that there's a good thing trying to happen, okay, but it's trying to happen faster than people are copping onto it or getting to understand it. And that's what the rub is. Nothing's being addressed when it comes to EMF affliction to the body, be it come from the government, the sky, the earth, or some lurking sports bettor. They run around thinking, oh, you can't see it, so therefore it can't hurt anybody. I'm sorry, it does, okay? People can do stuff like make sure the head of their bed isn't on the same wall as their electric meter, because you can't do anything about that because people need electricity, but you can place things around your home. You can do what you can do for yourself first, and then start bitching. That's all I can say. Do what you can do first.
Gotcha.
That's all. Huh?
Well, I think the big thing to me with this green energy move, I'm not against trying to find new ways of energy, but I think we're doing things before we really have the technology, well, they'll succeed. And what's going to end up happening is it's going to black eye a lot of stuff that could be really good, because we're just not technology advanced enough for it to really work. I think solar falls into that. I'm not going to tell you I don't think solar's a bad idea. I just don't think we're smart enough yet to really use it like it should be used. And it's going to probably end up giving it a bad rap before it's over with.
Well, the people who are trying to be one-upping all the time are the ones that are messing it up. And the guy said it earlier. We're sort of in a race with another country all the time. And the people who tend to be out in it are the ones that are doing their own kind of corruption with it when it needs to be something that's good. AI has its place, but don't forget about the OI, which is what I call organic intelligence. You know what I mean? Back in the day, everyone only had a flathead screw and screwdriver. The Phillips head came along, and now if people go back to a flathead, they're like, oh, this sucks, right? Well, you can't forget what it was that made it so that you were skillful at the flathead. And that's what's being ripped from us so quickly, okay? It's, back in the day, you learned from a person. Now most of the people are learning off the computer, and they don't want to hear anything from a person. This is what we're losing in the world, not just the country. We have to honor the fact that we are smart in the first place. And, this other thing I would like to think should make life easier, not harder. But what makes things harder? When there's corrupt fingers in the pie. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Got you. All right. Appreciate you, Hope. Thank you.
Bring up these subjects. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. All right. Good deal. I think technology's got to catch up if we're going to really make green be green. One thing real quick, got about a minute and a half left. Just throw this out there. Kimberly Cheadle, Secret Service Director, resigned after a pitiful testimony on Capitol Hill last week. She's the fifth one under the Biden administration in 4 years, folks. They're running through them like water. So, I don't think nobody really wants this job that's qualified, not with the administration that we have now. I think they see a lot of incompetence there, and I just don't think your true Secret Service agents, the ones that have been in there, want to take it. So, anyway, interesting. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we just thank you. We pray you watch over us, and you pray you enlighten us and guide us in our path. Be with us in all we do. Keep us safe, Lord. It's a tough world out there, and sin has took over. Help us, dear Lord, make our path, and please forgive those who thought whatever it was they were doing at the Paris Olympics was right, because it was not. And pray all this in your holy, precious Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Folks, until next week, take care.
You've been listening to North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely. Join Jeff again next Monday morning at 11:05 for Taking Care of Iredell on News Talk WSIC.